I'm Sergeant Victor Jackson. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Glendale Police Department. Thank you to the media for coming out. We appreciate the community coming out. Thank you for those watching also on GTV6. We're going to speak about hate flyers being posted in our city this morning, and the first speaker is going to be our captain from the Glendale Police Department, Robert William.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Captain Robert William from the Glendale Police Department. And on behalf of Chief Sid and the rest of the Glendale Police Department, I'm here to talk about what happened. Early this morning at about 7:30 in the morning, the Glendale Police Department received a call from a passerby who saw what they described was disturbing flyers posted on light poles in a 500 block of South Central Avenue in the city of Glendale. Our officers responded to the scene, which happens to be at the location of St. Mary's Armenian Church, located in the 500 block of South Central Avenue. And what they found were flyers that were posted on city light poles, and each flyer were directly facing the church. The officers saw what were, in fact, indeed, hateful speech that was directed towards the Armenian community and the Armenian church. The officers felt that the rhetoric and the language on the flyers were promoting violence, promoting genocide towards the Armenian people and the Armenian church. That prompted an immediate investigation on behalf of the Glendale Police Department. There was an overwhelming response from our investigative unit that responded to the scene and began an investigation. Those flyers have since been removed, and the Glendale Police Department have been working very closely with our city officials and our community leaders to identify the perpetrators. We're working diligently to do that. We're hoping that we can identify someone. We're looking at surveillance footages at this time and trying to identify the individual. If anyone has any information as who may be responsible for this act, please give us a call at 818-548-4911. That will go directly to our dispatch, and we're hoping to get any kind of information that we can.
Thank you. I'm going to read a statement, and then I'm going to introduce some of our council members as well as some affected parties that wish to share their words with you. Thank you all for coming. I wish we were gathering here under better circumstances, but even more than a century since the unimaginable atrocities committed by the Ottoman Empire through the killing of over 1.5 million innocent Armenians, we continue to witness the efforts by hate groups today who continue to promote the atrocious act of genocide right here in the city of Glendale, home to one of the largest Armenian communities in the United States. The individuals or groups responsible for the posting of these flyers are undoubtedly emboldened by the ongoing denial by the Republic of Turkey of the Armenian genocide, as well as the active and current aggression by the government of Azerbaijan against the Armenian people in Artsakh, a crisis that is ongoing and unfortunately not covered enough by the media. Our country has seen a spike in hate incidents in the last decade as hate speech and violent acts have visited various communities throughout the United States. It is important that we speak out against such acts and condemn them no matter who the victim or targeted group may be. The cowardly act of pasting hate-based flyers on light poles promoting genocide in front of a house of worship is unconscionable and intolerable. I, along with council members gathered here today, stand united in expressing our condemnation of such an act and support bringing to bear every investigative resource available to the Glendale Police Department with the assistance of our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners. I want to further emphasize that these types of acts are aimed at scaring people, just as white hooded cowards used to terrorize our nation's black families after the Civil War, just like cowards who threw bricks through the windows of Jewish-owned businesses in Germany intended to, and just like so many other countless acts of cowards who have tried to scare and intimidate various groups, be they of a different race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or whoever is considered the target of such heinous acts. The city of Glendale is a place that will always reject acts and hate speech. We are prepared to speak out against it, and we are doing so today. I want to further emphasize that we stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters, Jews and Armenians share a common experience of persecution and genocide, and as such, we must share a common responsibility to speak out against racism, bigotry, and intolerance. More than half of Glendale's population, by the way, was born outside of the United States. My own family has roots that trace back to different parts of the world as part of displacement that was caused by the genocide, and we even have roots that trace all the way back to the holy city of Jerusalem. So I stand with my Jewish American brothers and sisters against anti-Semitism, just as our Jewish brothers and sisters, including my colleague on the council and other leaders throughout California, stand with their Armenian American brothers and sisters in seeking justice for acts of hate against Armenians and efforts to harass and intimidate minority groups. Before I turn it over to my colleagues, I want to acknowledge the presence of the following individuals who are here with us. I'd like to thank Philip Hain, who is a representative of Temple Sinai that is here with us. I want to also acknowledge our elected council members, Mayor Pro Tem Ellen Asatryan, council members Dan Brotman, who will be the incoming mayor next week, council members and past mayor Paula Devine, and council member and past mayor Ara Najarian, as well as our elected city clerk Suzy Abajian, who is here. We are also joined, obviously, you notice the police staff, but we have with us Reverend Father Movses Shanakian of St. Mary's Armenian Church, along with their Father Vasken Atmadjan. This is where the flyers were first noticed, and representatives of the Glendale Armenian National Committee and the Armenian National Committee of the Western United States, as well as a representative of the Armenian Bar Association. I would like to also thank everyone from the community who has reached out to express their support, including the city manager of Beverly Hills, Nancy Hunt Coffey. Beverly Hills had a similar hate incident not too long ago, and I want to thank you all for coming today. We know this was on very short notice, but we felt that it is important for the city to inform the community that we are working on finding out who was responsible and ensuring that our community is safe. As our law enforcement personnel do their job, we ask that the community cooperate, but most importantly, we ask that we do not allow these individuals to succeed by dividing us against one another, but instead come together as one city. We are all part of the same race, the human race. Let us try to remember that and engage in acts and in speech that reinforces that. So thank you. With that, I would like to ask Council Member and Mayor Pro Tem Ellen Asatryan to share her words.
Good afternoon, everyone. I join our mayor colleagues and our police leadership in condemning the hateful acts and promotion of genocide against not just the Armenian American community here, but Armenians globally. Glendale has no place for hate, and such acts will be and are being treated with the utmost seriousness and gravity they deserve. As many of you are aware, the weekend of January 28, 2023, anti-Armenian flyers were also found around Los Angeles amidst the March of Artsakh, organized by the Armenian Youth Federation, Western USA. These flyers then included genocidal threats against Armenians, including statements about wiping Armenians off the map. These flyers were then posted with the knowledge of Armenians Americans would be gathering that day together to protest against the ongoing blockade and war crimes of the Azerbaijani government against the Armenians of Artsakh. The inadequate and unacceptable response from Beverly Hills during that incident has now undoubtedly emboldened the same or different set of people to escalate the threats and to bring them to Glendale, which is home to the largest concentration of Armenians outside of Armenia. By the continuous denial by the Republic of Turkey of the Armenian genocide, as well as the world's silence on the war crimes being committed to date by Azerbaijan against Artsakh and Armenia, and as the people of Artsakh, particularly now entering the 111th day of the blockade, leaving them without proper food, medicine, and basic human necessities. Threats of violence, genocide, racism, and hate against any minority group will not be tolerated in Glendale. Each person must feel safe in our neighborhoods, at our schools, in their place of worship. I want to take this opportunity to also commend our Glendale Police Department leadership and staff for their swift response. We are all committed to ensuring that those who perpetrated these acts will be held accountable for their actions. I also call on our fellow elected officials and institutions who preach human rights, peace, and against hate to stand with the Armenian community. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is so sudden that I don't have anything prepared, but I'll just speak from the heart. And can you hear? Yeah. And just say that this, I'm sure among all of us, raises so many conflicting emotions. On the one hand, my first reaction is one of rage and the hopes that the full force of the law will be brought down on whoever perpetrated this crime. I also feel a sense of sadness that this kind of thing has become so normalized in our country, and sadness at whatever dark hole exists at the center of the person or people that did this. And I feel fear that this could trigger copycats and could lead to some of the types of crimes, attacks that we've seen in other parts of the country against various minority groups. The last thing I want to say is that as a Jewish American, I obviously noted the supposed signature of the person that did this. We don't know at this point who put these posters up. We don't know if, in fact, it is somebody who can call himself a rabbi. I just want to say that this, but in no way, shape, or form reflects the sentiments of Jews, of the Jews in Glendale or the Jews anywhere that I know of. And as the mayor said, we share with Armenians the experience of persecution and the experience of being a diaspora population. We have a lot of things in common, and I would hate to see anything like this create divisions between our groups. So I'll leave it there, and hoping that, if anything, this brings us together and makes us more determined to speak with one voice against hate. Thank you.
Indeed, it's a sad day in the city of Glendale. It is said that hate can never bring something good. Instead of hate, we should be celebrating. We should be celebrating our diversity. We should be celebrating our friends, our neighbors, and our fellow Glendalians. Hate hurts the soul, and today my soul is hurt. To think that someone in our city could be so full of anger and hatred to post such a horrible, horrific poster. It saddens me. It hurts me. I, along with my colleagues, stand with our Armenian community. Last week we were celebrating the diversity in this city. And this week we're saddened by what's happening. So all I ask is that if anyone knows anything out there, please contact our police department. Let's not let this go any further. We all need to live together, be kind to each other, and not hold any ethnic hatred towards anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ara Najarian. I'm the longest serving member on the Glendale City Council. But I'm an Armenian, and I belong to an ancient race whose roots are in the subsoil of history. Armenians have been around for thousands and thousands of years, and we have faced seemingly insurmountable odds in preserving our religion, our culture, and our language. And I can assure you that this despicable and cowardly act by the individual who put that flyer up in front of our house of worship has not in any way achieved his goal of intimidation or to cause fright in the Armenian population. We have faced long odds. We have overcome long odds. And oftentimes, challenges like this bring us together, as you see some of the members of the community behind me. We will persevere. We will find out who did this cowardly act and expose who did it. There's some speculation as to where it's from. But the Armenian community stands together, and we respect all other communities. This month of April is our month of remembrance, where we remember man's inhumanity to man all over the globe throughout history. It's something that we hold dearly to our hearts, and I can assure you that our community will, as they say, live long and we will prosper. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Suzy Bajian. I, as the City Clerk of Glendale, would like to echo my colleagues in condemning these acts of hate against my community. Unfortunately, anti-Armenian hate and racism is alive and well, and my community continues to be targeted, harassed, and traumatized by these acts that have been taking place across the country, but are not given the same weight by law enforcement and electeds as other hate crimes. I know, however, that our city will appropriately address this incident because our city leadership and our police department understand the gravity of the situation. The threat of genocide is not protected speech, but a threat of violence that should be addressed appropriately. I do not feel safe walking on the streets of our city with the knowledge that some people would like to see Armenians erased from the face of the planet, and they feel emboldened to place these flyers in public places and in front of our cherished community centers and houses of worship. I know that I'm not alone in feeling this. The Armenian community will not be safe until these acts are dealt with the gravity that they deserve. We need everyone who cares about human rights and stands against hate to stand up against this act. This is your time to show up for the Armenian American community. Thank you.
My name is Lucy Petrosian, and I am the chairperson of Glendale ANCA. The Armenian National Committee of America, Glendale chapter, strongly condemns and is deeply concerned about the distribution of anti-Armenian flyers found in the vicinity of St. Mary's Armenian Apostolic Church, as well as other places in Glendale. We're working closely with the Glendale Police Department and the elected officials to ensure this act of hate is investigated and that the individuals who are responsible are brought to justice. This is yet another tragic reminder of how anti-Armenian hate by the Azerbaijani government has terrorized Armenian lives, not only in Artsakh and Armenia, but across the diaspora.
Hello, my name is Edward Barsumyan. I'm here to represent the Armenian National Committee of America Western Region. I serve as Director of Coalitions and Community Development. The ANCA Western Region strongly condemns the hate speech directed at the Armenian community in Glendale and our nation worldwide. When hate speech is not confronted and remedied, it will fester and it will grow. The posting of hate flyers at the headquarters of the Armenian Cultural Foundation in Glendale and St. Mary's Armenian Apostolic Church comes on the back of the arson attack and vandalism in San Francisco on an Armenian church and school, the vandalism of our Armenian schools and institutions here in Southern California, and similar hate flyers posted in Beverly Hills on the eve of the 108th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, and in the midst of an illegal blockade imposed by Azerbaijan against the 120,000 Armenians in Artsakh, whose very existence hangs in the balance. The Glendale Police Department must conduct a thorough investigation into this heinous incident and deliver better results than the Beverly Hills Police Department in identifying and exposing the person or persons groups that are inciting another genocide against the Armenian nation. On the foreign policy front, the Biden administration must confront Aliyev's genocidal campaign against the Armenians of Artsakh, and on the domestic front, our local governments must do better to protect the Armenian communities across California and the country at large. The only path forward for our community, all communities, is that we stand together against hate in all its forms. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anthony Babakanian, and I'm a member of the Armenian Bar Association, Armenian Rights Watch Committee. The Armenian Bar Association stands firmly with the mayor, law enforcement, and the community. These repugnant messages have no place in Glendale, home to one of the largest Armenian diaspora communities. Please, if you have any information regarding these disgusting messages, please come forward. Thank you so much for your time.
As our last speaker, I'd like to introduce Reverend Father Moses Shanakian, who is a priest at St. Mary's Armenian Church, where the flyers were first found.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for coming out here today. We're gathered here in this sad occasion. We all condemn this kind of behavior. Our forefathers, a century ago, on the sands in Derzor, in Syria, in Armenia, when we were gathered, flocked, and sent to our deaths for massacre, for genocide, the only thing that our forefathers taught our people were prayer on the sands, the alphabet, and we didn't teach hate. And this act of hate shouldn't be done anywhere. And on behalf of the church, we thank everyone for their support. And during this Christian time, the Holy Week is next week. It's one of the holiest times in the Christian calendar. And it's our prayer, our collective prayer for God to enlighten the eyes, the souls of these people, these perpetrators who did this act, for them to see the love that we have, to see the love in their hearts, and not continue doing things like this ever again to anyone. Not only Armenians, but everyone. We're all brothers and sisters here, and we should act that way until the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Father Moses. That is the conclusion of our official comments on behalf of various community organizations, on behalf of the council, and the report from the police department. In just closing, I would like to say that as we enter the season of Passover and as we enter the season of the Holy Week leading up to Easter, I'd like to just remind us of the words written by Peter in his epistle, in his first letter, where he said, "Finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Do not repay evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, bless, for this is what you were called to do, that you may obtain a blessing." Let's not encourage further evil. Let us stand up against hate, and especially during this particularly important time in the spring. I want to thank you all again for coming. And in closing, I'll just say that the council members and elected officials will be available for further comment, along with our police captain, if you so wish to ask us any other questions. Thank you very much.
To answer your question, so far we've recovered a total of 11 flyers. We believe there may be more based on surveillance footage that we've seen of the suspect. The suspect is carrying a satchel that has a lot more flyers in there. We believe that there's a possibility that members of our community have found flyers and have removed them prior to calling the police. But at this point, we're looking at potentially more flyers being distributed throughout the city. Unfortunately, it's a grainy footage right now. We're canvassing for more surveillance footage, but what I can describe is, as of right now, is a male that's dressed in dark clothing and a beanie, and carrying, like I said, he's carrying a satchel with what is clearly has more flyers inside the satchel. We're not going to jump to conclusions right now. That's still part of our investigation. We don't know who did this. I mean, just because it's written that it's by a rabbi, it could be written by anybody, really. So that's going to be part of the investigation. We know that something similar like this happened to Beverly Hills, that it was mentioned earlier. So we will be working very closely with our partners at Beverly Hills Police Department to see what kind of notes, what kind of investigative information they may have, and try to cross-reference the information that we have and see if we can try to identify the individuals. That's correct. It is a hate incident. We are investigating it to the fullest potential. We're going to treat it like it's a crime. We're hoping that we can identify the individuals, and if it turns out that the investigation reveals that there is criminal conduct, then we will absolutely pursue the perpetrators for prosecution. For the most part, yeah, we do have a very large Armenian community, and for the most part, whether Armenian or not, the residents in Glendale, even visitors of Glendale, are usually peaceful people, and we don't generally see any kind of crime related to hate. It's not to say that it doesn't happen. From time to time, it does happen, and we investigate them to its potential. But I can say that this is something we're hearing more and more about it. It was mentioned earlier. There's been incidents in San Francisco in the Armenian community up there. So we pay attention to what's happening locally, but regionally as well, and we try to gather that information and see what we can do with it. Fortunately, I can say that doesn't happen often here in Glendale.